The Constitutional Court has just ruled that husbands now have the right to assume their wives' surnames. For more on this ConCourt ruling, we are now joined by Professor Nokuzola Mndende, who's a specialist in African culture and spirituality at the Icamagu Heritage Institute. Prof, thank you so much for your time this hour on the agenda. First of all, let's get your reaction to that ConCourt judgment that was handed down just a few moments ago.
Thank you, Mkolisi, and thank you to the viewers. You know, when I was listening to the honorable judge, I just told myself, I don't think this is happening in South Africa, because I understand in the Constitutional Court there are African judges there. I don't know whether they were part of this, because this is not meant for the Africans, that judgment. Because in the first place, we are the people who are not individualistic. And I don't think our people were consulted in this thing, because we are creating men who are irresponsible, we are creating men who are psychologically sick. That is why gender-based violence is escalating. Just imagine uSmayeni wendoda ozawusebenzisa isename yakwaMndende kumethathe uNokuzola Mndende. That is a sign of an irresponsible man. And secondly, we must also understand, and policy, that to us the question of surname came with the white people, came with the West. Otherwise, my identity is my clan name, not my surname. And even with this man, his identity is his clan name, not his surname. What is an issue with this surname thing? It's again something from the West. And those judges, they have forgotten that before you use a surname, when people are married, there are processes. Who's going to pay the lobola for me? If my husband is going to use Mndende's surname, who's going to move from this to that? And again, when they talk about equality, what equality are they talking about? They are talking about Western equality, not about the way we do things. I am Udatobawu. I'm the firstborn woman at home. So I don't understand what this issue. So this act is the Western approach. And the judges, unfortunately, our judges have been swallowed by the West. So I was asking my question, and policy, why are they talking about this thing? There are so many issues that are burning, that are suppressing us in the country. To talk about a man changing a surname, what is the point in doing that? We are creating irresponsible men.
Yeah, but also, Prof, they are well within their rights to actually escalate that matter as they feel fits for them. And without even looking at this from just the African lens, as you've pointed out, and looking at it, not from the race as well as color lines as well, many on some fronts have termed this judgment as quite progressive. Would you disagree with that?
If they are men, that those are men editing uSmayeni, those are irresponsible men, because they want, policy. I was shocked at one stage when a man wanted maintenance from his wife. These are the typical men I'm talking about. So that is why I'm saying these laws that are being made there, these are the laws that are anti-African. There's no equality at all. I heard the judge talking about equality. There is suppression here and not equality. We cannot talk about two people who have got their own problems and their own needs, because my wife didn't want to lose her surname, therefore I must change into her surname. We cannot look about that. What about the majority who are in South Africa? What about majority, the culture of the majority of the people here? Which direction does equality go?
But this is the highest court in the this is the highest court in the land, Prof, which has also used, some legal text to substantiate this judgment at the moment, this landmark judgment that we heard this morning. Just on that, what do you say?
You know, that's another problem. As an activist of the customary law, that's another problem I'm struggling with because if you look at all the departments, when they talk about legal, they're talking about the Roman Dutch law. So legal equals Roman Dutch law and the Western law. What about the customary law? Because it's also legal. So what do you mean when you talk about legal?
We mean that comes straight from the apex court in the land, Prof. And also just on that as well, when we take these matters and tie them together and look at the progression element of it, just as the Constitution continues to lay the foundation of how we move with the law in the country, don't you think there's a way in which, the perspective that you come from can find a way to perhaps find a way to bridge the gap, as well as have both areas coexist, particularly in this matter?
Unfortunately, the apex court or whatever court, it never started from the bottom. Whatever court, whether it's the high court or the magistrate court, I don't know the names of them because I'm not from that side. When they go to the rural areas, they impose, they say it's going to be like this, and then they take it up. They will even speak English. They'll speak English, and then people will keep quiet. So the apex court itself is made up of different people with different backgrounds. Our own people are betraying us. Betraying our identity.
So what would you say?
Court itself.
Yeah. So what would you say, Prof? Would you say this points to tradition and culture being in conflict with a certain legal principles? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying, even definition of legal is imposed. Point number one. Point number two. All those laws. She was even citing a law about the deaths and births, and so was struggling even with that. When I find somebody, an unknown person, saying that he's using the surname of my grandchild. So all those laws, they are anti-African, and they pretend to be fighting against gender-based violence. And yet they are promoting patriarchy, they are promoting suppression, they are promoting anti-Africanism. They must come down at first and tell us what is the importance of the surname. Because we don't even, for instance, in my Xhosa language, surname is Ifani from Afrikaans 5, E-A-N. That's my identity. They don't have that, and now they want to swallow us with our own way of promoting our identities. I'm telling you from the apex court, I wonder if they take an oath that they are not going to lie, because our own people who are there, they are lying against us.
But Prof, we heard from the court came out to say that part of the judgment was to fight against the patriarchy that you talk about at this moment.
No, it's not fighting against the patriarchy, because if you in any homestead, the man must support his family. Now the one maintenance is that helping us? Number two, even for him to use my surname, what is he bringing in this marriage when he is going to use my surname, and yet 80% of the work here is done by me as his wife? So that is why I was saying, Gusmayeni, those weak men who want to be supported by their women, that is Mayeni.
Prof. Nokuzola Mndende, we're going to have to leave it there. Thanks very much indeed for your insights this hour on the program. That's Prof. Nokuzola Mndende giving us her reaction to the judgment that was handed down by the Constitutional Court not so long ago.